In today's episode of the podcast, we're talking about why people don't buy even if you have an incredible offer. Even if you've gone out there, you've bought Alex Hormoz's $100 million offers, you've followed everything to the letter, you've got this fantastic offer that people in theory want, you've got something that's priced well, you've added bonuses, you've got a sales page, you've added scarcity, all of these sorts of things. You've ticked all of that marketing bingo boxes, but still nobody actually wants to buy anything you're selling. Don't worry, we're going to fix this if you watch and listen to the whole episode of this podcast. This isn't an uncommon problem. If you're in that situation I just described, you are not alone. There are plenty of people out there running online businesses who invest in all of the latest marketing books. Whether they read them, that's another issue. They invest in courses. Whether they take them and follow through with the advice, that's another issue. They also invest in high-priced mentorships to try and accelerate through the process of getting to the point where they have a business that generates those reliable leads and generates sales, so on and so on. But it's often not as simple as investing in something and getting that immediate result. Not because the investment is the wrong thing, but most of the programs out there, the mentorships, the courses, the books, they miss one fundamental thing. Now, I sell courses, mentorships, and books and things like that. And even in the book that I wrote, Post the Profits, I still missed this one thing. I did mention it, but I feel like now, 2 years on almost, I should have really expanded what was basically a page into an entire paragraph. Having dealt with dozens and dozens of coaches now, it's come clear that if we want to break through that plateau of producing content and having all the systems and nothing actually happening, we need to fix the question of belief. That's not to say it's self-belief. We're not talking about some sort of woo-woo thing on this podcast. I'm not here to be the self-help guru or something like that. If you haven't got self-belief and you're running your own online business, you're probably not going to do very well. You need to have that self-belief that you are capable of at least learning this stuff and applying yourself, and you have the commitment to do that. If you need someone to give you a rocket up the ass to do that sort of stuff, it's probably not going to work out well for you. So self-belief, that's for another podcast. Maybe someone else is going to record that one. It's probably not going to be me. The belief I'm talking about is your potential clients' belief that they have right now about what they need to do to get results, and what they should believe, think, do, and act in order to generate more results and progression towards their specific desired outcome. Now, what happens typically if I, for example, start working with a new client and we start working through their strategy, if they have one, we start looking through their content, if they're posting, there are fundamental things that are just simply missing. And this is around this idea of beliefs. So if we look at the content side of things first, what you often see is that people are told to post value. So that means in their brain that they're going to post a lot of tips, a lot of facts, a lot of figures, a lot of how-to guides or something like that, right? Now that's fine. You need that sort of content. Instagram, the algorithms like that content. Most niches like that sort of content. But that's what I call the what content. A little bit of how to as well, but it's kind of like what. This is like what you should do. Eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's like what you should do. It doesn't really do anything in terms of, well, why should I do that? Yes, you could say it's to build muscle and to keep hunger at bay for longer and things like that, but it doesn't really dig into a transformational why. It doesn't move people to make real action in terms of progressing down your specific sales process, for example. It's not really good. You've got to put a reel out there that gives a little fact. They're not going to jump and start DMing you about coaching because you gave them this wonderful fact that they could have got off of YouTube or wherever. It doesn't really work like that. So what we're trying to do when we're thinking about the why is think about the problem that they're struggling to overcome right now, why their existing actions and beliefs have not generated any results, what they should do differently, and why they should do it, and why that's going to work. So we have to make that transformational why rather than just throw something out there. So when we have the what, we have the why, then we have the how. So how do they do it? So we'll come on to the how a little bit later, but the why is rooted in what I call the unique value system. This is essentially a set of values, beliefs, actions, however you want to describe it, that you feel someone needs to adopt in order to achieve their desired goal. So let's say, for example, that you were helping people lose weight and build muscle. Very generic goal in the fitness space, but we'll use it for now. For example, if we look at training, the training aspects, you might say, well, for your particular niche, the focus is on training in a sustainable way, because yes, you could go into the gym, you could smash yourself, you could do extra cardio, you could do 5 a.m. cardio sessions or whatever to try and bring the calorie burn up and all these sorts of things. But is that really sustainable? Is that what they're going to be doing longer into the future? It might also be that it's not just about gym workouts and running on a treadmill. You want them to do, or you want them to train in ways that they enjoy. So that might be a bit of rock climbing. That might be some walking, kayaking, whatever, right? Whatever it is. I'm just making this up as I go along, right? So what we need to do is kind of crystallize that value, that belief that you have about how people are going to get the best results into a memorable statement. So that might be train to sustain. It has a little bit of a rhyme to it, which is always a beneficial thing in terms of sticking in people's memories. But that's one of your values, train to sustain. So people understand straight away, with maybe a little bit of qualifying text underneath that, about what you believe to be true about achieving great results when it comes to fitness. Now that's going to attract a certain type of person. There's going to be people who maybe just want to have a 12-week absolute blitz in the gym, get shredded, do a photo shoot. That's probably not going to resonate as well as with somebody who is maybe a parent, over 40, time is limited, and they're thinking more about the long term, right? So by crystallizing your specific values, your unique value system, you create a marketable, tangible way to communicate why you are different. So you often hear these sound bites on social media where people say, just be you, and nobody's heard you say it the way you say it and stuff like that, which is great, but it doesn't actually mean anything because there's no practical advice there. Whereas a unique value system is essentially taking what makes you unique and turning it into something that you can communicate. And that's very important because people don't always buy based on logic. Now, you've heard that sort of buy on emotion, justify on logic thing, and that's a cliche because it's kind of true, right? So when we're thinking about our unique value system, what we're doing is we're appealing to some of those emotions. We're kind of like aligning our brand with certain people's way of thinking. If you don't agree with these values, then you're probably not the right customer for this program. And that's fine, but we're making it clear who this is for and who it's not for. Now, if you have 5 to 10 of these values, it makes it much easier for you to create content because your content should align with at least one of those values. The lead magnets you create are going to be much easier to create because you're going to align them with the values. Same goes for your offer, same goes for sales pages. You're basically going to have this sort of communication machine, this marketing machine, so that whatever you put out there, whether it's email, content, caption, whatever, it aligns in some way with your value system. So you're constantly attracting people who agree with those broad set or that broad set of values. And that is really important. It's the thing that most people overlook and get wrong because they get distracted by funnels and they get distracted by many chat flows and should they do a reel and what's this trending audio and how do I do this jump cut, and all of that stuff's great, and all of that stuff to a certain degree is useful in the marketing process. But if you don't know how to communicate to your ideal clients and how to attract them in such a way that they become advocates of your brand and want to buy from you again and again, then all that other stuff is kind of irrelevant, and it's just there to boost your own ego because you're in search of views and you're in search of likes. So to go back to the exam question of why we started this podcast in the first place is why people don't buy even though you've got a great offer. Well, it's because you need to align your brand and that offer with the values, the belief, and the thought processes that resonate with your audience. It's no good just having the app, the course, the great, software platform, whatever it is. You need a little bit more than that. And so that's essentially what you need to focus on, that unique value system. Now, if you're kind of unclear about how to put all of that together, you can go and read Poster Profits, the book. I've got a copy of it right here. Like I said, though, is that I wrote this a couple of years ago, and yes, there's a chapter on it. Let's see if I can find it very, very quickly. There is a chapter on it, and it will guide you through the basics of what you need to know. But again, like 2 years on, I've really kind of figured out a little bit too late in terms of writing the book that you really need to focus a lot more on this unique value system in order to generate the results that you are looking to generate. So I can't find it quickly enough. But anyway, it's in there. It's in the book. Now, if you want to delve into it a little bit deeper, I've written an 8,000 word newsletter for my Social Mavericks subscribers. You can get it for $29 a month or $59 for a one-off purchase. But basically that is a dense newsletter about the entire unique value system, a step-by-step process for actually developing your own, and how to put it into action on social media to generate more leads. So there's that option there for you. But again, some of you probably want to just accelerate through this whole process and not have to kind of figure it out all for yourself, which is essentially why I've launched a brand new service, which hasn't got a fancy name. I'm calling it Funnel Builder right now, but it's nothing fancy in terms of the name. But what it is that I'm going to basically create your entire social media strategy and your social media sales funnel for you. We'll have an initial 90-minute kickoff call to figure out exactly where your business is at, but then we're going to dive into what it is that we need to do. So the strategy, the market research, figuring out the unique value system, your unique mechanism, which is essentially the how that I mentioned earlier. How to actually put that value system in place is your methodology. That's your unique mechanism. So the value system is what you believe needs to happen. The mechanism is how you actually put it into practice. And we'll create both of those so we understand how you're different in the marketplace, how you're going to stand out, how you're going to differentiate yourself, and what we need to do in terms of your content to ensure we're attracting the right people consistently. So we'll do all of that. Then we'll go away and create lead magnets. I'll build a ManyChat sales funnel for you, including email automation, emails that go with it, and all those sorts of things. So it's a real comprehensive plug and play thing that's going to get you to a point where you have a system and a process in place that's going to help you generate more leads, and you basically have had to do not very much work at all. So if you're interested in that, you can go over to socialmavericks.co/funnel-builder. And you can read through all of the program there. And also you can click a button to get a free quotation about what it's going to cost to do that in your business. And I'll put a link in the show notes. But that is it. That is why, one of the key reasons. And if until you fix that one reason, people are still not going to buy in the volumes in which you probably deserve. So fix that problem, fix that value system, and everything will start flowing from there.